Hey everyone, it's Dragon Rider, and we got the rest of the neutral cards, so let's start jumping into these. So the first here was a legendary minion revealed via a Korean website, and that is Kalagarn, who's an 8 mana 6/10 with Rush, and whenever this attacks a minion, put it in your hand. Death Rattle, move any in your hand to your opponents. Okay, slightly awkward wording, I think. I don't know how else they would word this, but it's kind of got a lot going on. So this rushes in, and whenever it attacks a minion, you put that, minion that it is attacking into your hand. You don't put this back in your hand. So let's say you are attacking into a 2/2 minion, whatever that 2/2 minion is, you're going to put it in your hand. When this dies, if you have any of the minions that got put into hand from this card attacking into it, anything like that that's still in your hand is going to move over to your opponent's hand. I don't know if we've really had something like this before, so this doesn't take damage because it's not actually going to damage the minion. The death rattle of moving the opponent's, those minions into your opponent's hand, a little bit similar, I feel like, to the 3/3 bots that come out of POSIC, but instead of them going onto board, they go to your opponent's hand. So, kind of interesting. It gives your opponent a chance to play those minions again and put them back on board. But if you play them out of your hand and then that dies, well, that's it. That's all that happens. Then the death rattle goes off and you don't have any of those minions in hand. Very interesting. I'm curious to see if this actually does really see any play. A rush minion with 6 attack for 8 mana seems hefty, but just the fact of essentially getting to steal your opponent's minions off of their board seems kind of good. So very, very interesting card here. We really haven't seen anything like this before. The next one here, these next handful were all revealed via Dane Hearth on his YouTube channel. So the first one here, Angry Hellhound, a 4 mana 2/5 beast with Rush, and has +4 attack on your turn. So the first turn that you play this, you can attack in, and it will have that +4 attack. So the turn you play it, it's going to be a 6/5 with Rush. Pretty interesting. Decent stats for sure. And then it's going to go down. I think there actually might be some cases, something like Hunter, honestly, could utilize this, and especially things with buffs from bananas, or potentially some of the other kind of beast buff synergies that Hunter has. I think this actually could see some play. The next one here is Rune Fueled Golem. It's a 4 mana 4/4. Battle Cry, discover a weapon from any class. Okay. I don't honestly think that this really gets a lot of play in Standard. This is not really a card that I expect will want to be played in most decks in Standard. The next we have is Disguised Kathir. It's a 5 mana 3/3. Says each turn this is in your hand, transform into a random card in your opponent's deck. Okay, so it's gonna be in your hand, it's going to transform. If it gets pulled out of your deck, like pull a minion from your deck, or if you have this in hand before it transforms, and maybe your opponent plays something like a Dirty Rat, it's just gonna pull this 3/3 body out onto the board. But if it gets the chance to transform, you're gonna transform into something from your opponent's deck. Alright, this is maybe something that like Thief Priest or Priest might want to use to get a copy, and then, I don't know, maybe be able to play that out. Priest Council wants to do that anyways. Other than that, you're gonna have to give me something more than what we have right now to make me want to play this in Standard. Then now we have this adorable little whelp. I love this. Starlight Whelp. It's a 3 mana 4/3 dragon. Battle Cry, get a random card from your starting hand. I love Dane's comment in his video about this of, yes, then you can relive your terrible mulligan twice. Kind of funny. But, I don't necessarily think that this is something you want to run in your Standard deck to get a random card from your starting hands. You're really doing a lot to random that, and I don't know. Maybe it is kind of aggressively statted, so maybe some more kind of aggressive style deck wants to play this. Maybe there's something that utilizes dragons. I'm a fan of dragons. I'm always going to be a supporter of mechs and dragons personally, but I'm going to have to see it first. And then we have Celestial Projectionist. It's a 2-mana 3/2. Battle Cry. Choose a friendly minion. Add a temporary copy of it to your hand. This seems actually pretty cool. It's a little bit aggressively statted again with that 3 attack. Okay, it is a friendly minion, so it's not going to be any of your opponent's minions that you get to choose. And it is only a temporary copy. But for only 2 mana, I feel like you can actually probably play this on most turns and be able to play your temporary copy of that minion. So I do think that this is actually pretty flexible and probably will land itself in probably 2, maybe 3, well played or popular competitive standard decks. And then we get into the neutrals that were revealed via the official Play Hearthstone's Reddit channel. And the first one we have here, pretty simple. It's an ancient totem, 0 mana, 0/3 totem. Okay. It's just a totem to fill in the totem pool. Next up, though, we have this Drone Deconstructor. It's a 1 mana 1/2 mech. Battlecry, get a 1/1 magnetic Sparkbot with a random bonus effect. Now, there are 9 different keywords that it can get, so those options are going to be, it can get Divine Shield, it can get Taunt, it can get Rush, Wind Fury, Lifesteal, Stealth, Poisonous, or Reborn. So you'll get one of those on a little 1/1 magnetic Sparkbot. And okay, cool. There's some value there. Mech decks love this. It's a decent turn 1 play. And honestly, the potential upside of those keywords on a magnetic, I think actually does make this seem like a better option, even if you were to top deck this or play this a little bit later or mid game. But that magnetic aspect along with the keyword, I think is actually pretty huge for mech decks. So this might actually be one of my favorite ones. And of course, the little Sparkbot art is super cute. It's our cute art for the sets. Gotta love it. Then next up, this meme I don't think is ever gonna die. You gotta have a 4 mana 7/7. And we have it here with Imposing Anubisath. Is it 4 mana 7/7 with Taunt, can't attack? Okay, maybe there's some sort of thing in standard where we start using silence again, but I don't know. Maybe it's going to be something that is shown in one of the actual class cards, but right now this is probably not something we play. This is maybe a high roll in some cases if you summon a random 4-cost minion, but I don't think it's something that we're probably slotting into our standard decks. Then we have this Trog Exile. There's always got to be a Trog as well. It's a 3 mana 4/4 with Rush and Battlecry, deal 4 damage to your hero. I think aggressive decks still can utilize this. Also aggressive decks that might have healing or be able to start buffing this, especially since it has Rush. Honestly, that seems pretty solid. You might not even necessarily care that you're taking 4 damage. I don't know how many decks this really will be included in, especially since it doesn't have any sort of tag on it. I think something like this that maybe if it got discounted or if it had like a beast tag, we've seen stuff like that be played. This one, though, I actually don't know if it really gets included in very many decks. Again, this one I think needs to find a place in a certain class based on potentially what class cards we get. And then we have another rushing minion. We have Relentless Warg, a 3 mana 2/4 beast with Rush. And after this attacks and kills a minion, restore this to full health. Again, this is potentially something that because of that tag, maybe this gets played in Hunter. There's some ways to already buff minions with like the bananas or with some beast interactions. You potentially could find, discover a copy of this beast. The restoring it to full health, okay. I don't necessarily think that that's going to be super impactful, at least just on the face value of this card alone. Maybe it's good. That, I think, will kind of depend on the game situation, what deck you're facing. Maybe against aggressive decks, it's a little more helpful to have this restore its health, but against decks that are playing very large minions, this is gonna be just fodder. So, alright, there's that. And then we have yet another mech here, this Tram Operator. It's a 5-mana 4/4 mech with Battlecry, draw a mech. The next mech you play costs 2 less. Yes. I love this card. Love this card. I am so excited for some mech decks. Again, if you saw the previous neutral video, I talked about just that kind of mech decks are some decks that I have loved for a while. I have gotten some really good results with Mech Paladin in heroic tavern brawls and just all sorts of stuff. So I think this is fantastic. Yes, it's slightly lower stats than you would want for 5 mana, but you are drawing, tutoring something very specific that you already want, and the next mech you play costs 2 less. It doesn't have to be the mech that you draw. It doesn't have to be the turn that you play this. That effect will last just until you play another mech. Very, very good. I love this card. Then we have this Flame Revenant. It's a 2-mana 2/3 elemental. After you summon an elemental, give it +1/+1. Again, a little bit of battleground type of vibes, I feel like. Trying to get some sort of synergies with these tags and these tribes, but okay. Maybe? I really don't see an elemental deck coming around. And is +1/+1 when you summon it gonna be enough? Maybe. I want to see the class cards because maybe there is something that tries to use this, but right now, just with seeing the neutrals on their own, I'm not seeing this one for standard. And we have this Serenite Tol'vir, a 4-mana 3/5 with Taunt. Whenever this is attacked, draw a card. Okay, maybe a class wants to try to play this if they need card draw. It's not really super exciting or appealing, though. I don't know. Maybe, again, I feel like I say this every expansion. If Taunt Warrior is a thing, maybe a Taunt Warrior wants to play this. They can buff it or double its stats or something. Otherwise, okay. It's just a pretty plain neutral card. Then next up, we have Victorious Vrykul. It's a 1-mana 1/2. It says, after this attacks, get a 2/3 Valkyr that costs 1. So yeah, a 1-mana 2/3. After this attacks, though, it doesn't have Rush. It doesn't have a way to try to get that Valkyr a little bit earlier. I guess some decks, again, maybe aggro decks or something, could try to play this, especially if you play this on turn 1. Maybe there's decks that can't actually deal with this, and then you get to attack, and then you get a 1/1. I don't know how often you're actually going to get repetitive attacks and get multiple 1-mana 2/3s. Maybe this ends up in one deck for standard. That's kind of how I see it right now. And then we have Ravenous Kraken. I think this card is so cool. The art is great. But it's a 3-mana 2/5 beast. Battlecry, destroy a friendly minion. Death Rattle, summon a copy of it. Okay, so this is really, really cool for potentially reborn effects or death rattles, and I love it. It's a beast. It's got decent stats on its own. It does have a little bit higher health, so the death rattle might come a little bit later, but you could set off other, effects or other death rattles by destroying it because It does say destroy that friendly minion, so you will get death rattle effects. I do think that there might be a deck or two in Standard that utilizes this, but probably not a lot of decks beyond that. Well, what do you think of the second half of these neutral cards? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for checking these out. And if you happen to miss my reviewing of the first half of the neutrals, go ahead and check out this video next. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.